Let's factor 2x squared minus x minus 3. Using a guess and check method, this isn't too bad because the leading coefficient is prime. So when we set up our factorization, the only way to get 2x squared is to have one factor start with 2x and the other start with x. So now we're going to focus on that last term, negative 3. So in terms of our guesses, to multiply to get negative 3, we have negative 3 and 1 or positive 3 and negative 1. But we can put those two values in different orders. So in other words, if I choose negative 3 and positive 1, I could put the negative 3 with the 2x and the 1 with the x, or I could do it the other way around, which would give me different values. The positive 1 with the 2x and the minus 3 with the x. When I check outer and inner, those are going to give me different values. So I really have to cleverly perform my guess to make sure that my check on the middle term is accurate. So the way that I've left it, let's see if that works out. So first is 2x squared, as we know. Outer is going to be minus 6x. Multiplying the inner terms is going to be plus x, and I'm going to stop right there. Negative 6x plus x is negative 5x. So that combination of numbers didn't work. So I don't want positive 1 and negative 3. Let's go with negative 3 and positive 1 the other way. So now I'm going to just check outer and inner. Outer is 2x. Inner is negative 3x. And adding those together, 2x minus 3x is negative x. So that does work out. So this is my correct factorization. So notice that we're not simply saying what two numbers multiply to give us negative 3 and add together to give us negative 1. That only works when the leading coefficient is 1. So here we truly just have to guess and then check to make sure that the outer and the inner terms add together to give us the original middle term. Now let's factor negative x squared minus 3x plus 4. Here, the negative tends to throw students off, so what we can do is just factor out a negative to start the problem. So we're going to take the negative out and instead deal with x squared plus 3x minus 4, which is now a really nice thing to factor because the leading coefficient in the parentheses is positive 1. So my factors are going to both start with a positive x. And since the leading coefficient is 1, we can think about two numbers that multiply to give us negative 4 and add to give us positive 3. And those are going to be positive 4 and negative 1. So when we check, we'll get negative x plus 4x, which does give us that 3x. So the negative doesn't have to be a problem. Just factor it out first as the greatest common factor. Now let's factor 4x squared minus 7x minus 2. Since the leading coefficient is composite, we're going to have some different options for the start of each of our factors. So we could have 4x and x, because that's one way to get 4x squared, but we could also potentially have 2x times 2x, because that's another way to get 4x squared. So let's look at the constant term, negative 2. The only way to get negative 2 is negative 2 times 1, or positive 2 times negative 1. So let's go ahead and guess and check and see how it works out. So negative 2 times positive 1. So if I check outer and inner, so if I check outer, that's 4x. If I check inner, that's negative 2x. Those do not add together to give me negative 7x. And another indication this wasn't going to work is that 4x minus 2 now has a greatest common factor, 2. And the original problem did not have one. So that's not going to work. Let's switch those. Let's put plus 1 here and minus 2 here. And now outer is negative 8x and inner is plus 1x. So negative 8 plus 1 is negative 7. So this is my correct factorization.